Alright, it's going live, guys.
Hear you. I don't know. Part still muted.
Level 1. Rhythm.
Whenever you want, so come on, girl, let me take you to another world. You the one that I love to hear no other girl.
Die for you, cry for you. This is what I can't deny. Die for you, cry for you. Please don't say goodbye. Die for you, cry for you. This is what I can't deny. Die for you, cry for you. Please don't say goodbye.
1, 2, 3.
Never say goodbye, I'ma die with you. I hate it when you sigh, cause I cry with you. See, I never say goodbye, I'ma die with you. I hate it when you sigh, cause I cry with you.
Say it. Say it. CCC Dig 4.
Woo!
What's up, everybody? How you doing? This is Torrance Hudson, also known as HUD Zero, and welcome once again to another episode of Gaming Treble. We have an awesome panel that I want to introduce you to. To the very bottom, we have my Samoan brother from another mother, the one who will put you in a chokehold and guarantee to tap you out, the Neon Samurai himself, Tony San Miguel.
But I cannot put down Expedition 33.
Oh, that game gives you life.
I can't put it down.
That-
I just beat boss that was over with before I got on, and everything's going.
Don't tell me who the boss is. Tell me
No
after.
spoilers.
Tell me after the
No
stream.
spoilers.
Yeah, tell me after. Yeah, tell me after the stream.
I'll
Tell
tell
me.
you offline.
Indeed,
After it's all over, guys.
indeed. And to my right, the ladies' man himself, Mr. PR Nightfire himself, Johnny Alesea.
What's going on, players? You know me. I love my retro gaming. I love my gaming history. So, gentlemen, let's get this show on the road. It's gonna be a good one.
Yes. Woo! Oh man, this show is going to be amazing. We are going to go diving back, way back in time, to a time where video magazines were abundant, to a time where the internet was not, as accessible, to the time where information of video games were actually slower than others, but faster on TV. We're talking about video game info shows. We're talking about old school shows. We're talking about shows that came out when you were actually having your morning breakfast, sometimes on a Saturday, mostly weekdays, sometimes weeknights, and of course, and after school, of course, and after school. I tell you what, anything that's dealing with video game information, about tips and tricks, about newer games that are coming out, you want to know about it right away. These are the gateway to, to actually get all of your video game information. So we are going to talk about video games, the pioneers that actually got all these influencers where they are today. And it's going to be really, really awesome. So, let's talking pixels and personalities, a deep dive into video game info shows of the 1990s and 2000s. Now, I'm gonna shoot it to the panel. You remember, those times, right? Where, everybody knows. You can shoot out a couple of shows that you actually like, and also tell me why that you felt that it resonated with you, and that's the go-to place. Let's start with Johnny let's start with Johnny on my right.
Sure. Okay. So you want me to start what shows that I grew up with first?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Let's start off with the show that I every time when I get up in the morning before I go to school, and I saw on the TV guide. That if you don't know TV guide, I goes every week, check to see what shows are gonna come on.
Oh yeah.
The show called Video Power. It came on at 6:30 a.m. on here in New York on WWOR Channel 9. And I woke up, I watched the show, and I thought this was a show with the man with I'll say his real name, Snippy Podolsky, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Yeah.
AKA did I pronounce that name?
Yeah, you pronounce it right. Yeah, it's that. Yeah.
Okay.
It's mouthful.
AKA Johnny McKay. And what he used to do, he used to go with something. He would tell you about reviews on games. Tell you either reviews of games or previews of games, or he gives you something called the Video Power Edge. Tells you the game mind you, this was season 1. So after like the first part of the show, we would watch the show called The Power Team.
Ah,
like
yes.
Their own Captain and part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got some messages going on here on the chat.
Oh, excellent. What we got?
Chat, on a private chat right there. You might want to take a look at
Oh, yeah, I want to take a look right now. Hold on a second. Let me see here. Let's see. All right. Live chat. Okay. I don't see them on my end. They're not going live. So if you want to read them off to me, and then we'll shout you guys out.
No, on our private chat, they said they can't hear us.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah. I don't want to continue on until they don't.
Yeah. We want to make sure. We want to make sure that they can hear us. Hold on a second.
Now they say the audio's back. Now they said the audio's back.
So he said. So yeah. So you know what? That's not us. It wasn't us. I told you. It's not us. It's YouTube again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's definitely YouTube. So I'm hoping that viewers, bear with us. If anything happens, like in the middle of our stream, right? If something happens in the middle of our stream, and you see that we're starting to waver off and everything and shut off, do not go away. We will be coming back and everything. We're gonna start another stream, and just stay tuned, and we will let you know. And come on back, okay, guys? Please, bear with us. The YouTube algorithms are kind of weird, but getting back to what you were talking about, Johnny, go ahead.
Sure. Okay, so like I was saying, during the middle of the show, they would show the Power Team. Like I said before, it was their own Captain and cartoon that they showed all the heroes from the arcade games. We got Max Force from Narc, Heroes from Mystical Warriors, Tyrone from Our Rivals, Quirk from Quirk, and Bigfoot from Bigfoot. They would fight Mr. Big, and sometimes they call Mr. Big and his gang.
Ah, yes.
Spike and Joe. He loves his damn chili burgers. and sometimes they would fight either Quirk's arch enemies, or they would fight Mouthfeel, which is Girls' arch nemesis. And after the show's over, Johnny Arcade will go back. He'll give you some more tips. He'll give you some more reviews. He'll give you some more previews of some upcoming games. So I thought the show was neat. What's funny about Johnny Arcade, like he would portray as different characters when he reviews the game. Like he would act like a silly guy, or sometimes like a nerdy guy, or baseball. It depends on the game. It depends on what game it was that he was reviewing. Like say for example, I was watching a couple the other day. Like he was showing a review of Mega Man 3, and he would carry a Mega Man like a helmet, and then he would bring out like a clone of himself who holds like a red helmet that's supposed to portray as Proto Man. So that was the introduction of his brother in Mega Man 3, because Mega Man's brother Proto Man made his appearance in that game. So that was the clue right there. So I enjoyed the show. I really liked it. It came season 2. Now this is when they changed the show up. All right, it wasn't the usual what Johnny Arcade did. It was a game show. So it was a game show. So not only was Johnny Arcade, exactly. When season 2 started, that's when everything changed. Everybody liked it. Not only you had Johnny Arcade was back to be the host, but you had Terry Lee Torok. Now Terry Lee Torok used to host Nintendo championships and tournaments. So he was very well known in the gaming world at the time. So he was the co-host. And they also got Steve Treecase, who was also he did the music. Like he was the guy on the keyboard, but he used to work for MTV, and he was a part of that show. So that's the guy you always see. He would pass the show like the awards, like the prizes and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'll go on a little bit of rundown here. I don't want to make it too long, but I'll go what it does. So first, Johnny Arcade would introduce himself and introduce Terry, everybody else, and then he would go on to do some pro tips on whatever game that's going to be played that week.
Oh, that's right.
After Johnny.
And what's it called? Stump the what's it called? What is?
Yeah, it was called Johnny on the Spot.
Johnny on the Spot. Yes.
I'm about to get that. So after Johnny Arcade was done with the Video Power Edge, they would go to Johnny on the Spot. They would pick the 4 contestants. However, from what I learned, those 4 contestants was already picked out. So they find the guy or the gal that's going to be there. They'll just say, how about you, and then they bring him up, and then they go out with the question to Johnny Arcade. And if they can stop Johnny with a question, obviously it's gaming related. If they're able to stop him, then that contestant will get a prize from the ball. You know, he would pick one up. Sometimes it'll be a download rally or a joystick or controller, whatever it is.
It always ends up being Bushido. It's always you notice that Bushido always ends up being one of the games, and one of the game I think it was like
It depends on what it is, though. But most of the time, whenever the contestant stops Johnny, sometimes they wouldn't give him a game. Maybe they'll give him like a controller,
yeah,
or whatever,
like the Max Pad or the 360. What's called the Thumb Pad 360. Even one.
The Thumb Pad 360.
Yeah.
You know, and then after the 4 contestants got their question, but what's funny about that, when Johnny Arcade is a little like struggling with the question, so the audience says stop, which is hilarious. They know they got it. So after all that said and done, let's just say this week they're playing Batman, or they're playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, or Mega Man 3, whatever.
Yep.
So they get the 4 contestants, and they see who scores the most, or gets to the level the highest, and then they take out the 2 contestants that got the highest. 2 contestants that lose, they'll get like a little game, and then they're on their way. Then comes the quiz. They ask them 4 or 5 questions. And what's interesting, I like the third question. The third question, they'll play a tune from a game, and they have to name that game, which I think is cool. And then the 5th question, they'll put like a game on the screen, and if they name the game, sometimes there won't even be points. It'll be like a random game that they'll have like right there. And after the quiz is over, they'll go to they'll play whatever the game is they're playing earlier, and then they'll compete against each other. And whoever wins that, they'll go on to the prize round. They'll go into this wall with all these games. Now, what's interesting about that, they have 41 seconds. So Terry would come out with a game, and they'll tell that contestant, let's just say they find Dragon Warrior 2. And they tell them, if you find Dragon Warrior 2, you'll get a Game Boy, you'll get a bike, you'll get Total Graphics, whatever. You get a big prize. So they go out there, they grab all these games, and seeing that as a child, I wanted to be on that damn show so bad.
Yeah,
I was so jealous of all those contestants. So, and then, I forgot to mention the guy, the person who comes second place, who loses to the final person. Johnny will pick out some 2 games, and then that's it. They're on their way. But the person who goes to the prize round, gets grabs all those games to win. That person will come back to Friday show to compete against Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays winner. And whoever wins the Friday's winner, they'll go on to the ultimate tournament, and they'll compete. Let's just say they'll compete against the person who won Little Nemo, the Dream Masters, the champion of Little Nemo, the Dream Master Week, the person who won Battletoads Week, and then they'll compete for a trip to Universal Studios Hollywood, and then they'll get a $10,000 scholarship. So it was a big show, and after seeing that, I said to myself, I wanted to be on that show so bad, but unfortunately, I was hoping to have a new season, but unfortunately, the show ended late '92, and it was heartbreaking to see that show end.
Yeah. So,
your thoughts on the show, gentlemen?
Oh, yes. You gave a lot of detail, because I mean, basically, this is like one of those shows that really resonated with you, especially when it came to your video game past, your heritage, so to speak, and when it comes to video gaming. And you know, Tony, do you have any memories at all that you know that may be resonated with you and the thing that you actually kind of watched or even kind of perused a little bit that you know kind of resonated with you, like you know on TV or anything like that?
Well, actually, this particular show that he gave me that one, I must be unsure because I didn't remember any of that. Man, you mentioned all of it. It all came front back.
Wow.
Yeah, he ultimately. Yeah, no, I had a very similar experience. I woke up early for school anyway. I was just flipping around the channels and waiting for my sister to get out of the shower so I could go in. And yeah, I stumbled upon it. I started watching it, and what really kept me watching was the game show, because I wanted to get on that show and make the game too.
You know, it's funny. You know, I'm glad you guys actually met because I mean, basically, video power between the three of us, all three of us actually got influenced heavily when it came to that. That show was really highly regarded as one of the best video game information shows on TV, and you know, I mean, and it was also very accessible. I think, believe it or not, it aired every week, if I'm not mistaken, and
It aired every day. It was Monday through Friday. Like we were fortunate here in New York though, because it played in the morning on the channel that I hear in New York, WWOR Channel 9. But it also played after school, like around like 5, it was either 5 p.m. or 5:30 p.m. It was on WGN Chicago Channel 9. But that channel here was Channel 25. So if I didn't get to see it in the morning, I can watch it after school. So I didn't miss it.
yeah. You know, and believe it or not, the studio was located, I believe, in Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken. They
Yeah, it was in Brooklyn.
yeah, it was in Brooklyn. The studio was in Brooklyn. Yeah, it was. They actually aired it. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve Alley was in Steve Harvey's though. I remember, I think,
Yeah, that's what I thought. Most of WWOR, so they got it.
Yes, but the thing was that show was taped in New York.
Wow.
So.
Oh man.
Plus when they had people like write their cards to video power, they wrote to like at Madison Square Garden, like the Madison Square station, I believe that's where the address was.
Funny story.
That,
Oh, go ahead.
What's that?
Yeah, no, go ahead, Tony.
That video power put up by Prime Entertainment. You guys put up power.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
That's
I did
right.
not know
It was
that.
at the end of the show. Yes.
I did not know that.
Crazy, right? It was syndicated. It was syndicated. You know, so that's like one of those shows that really had a lot of backing, and the fact that Acclaim really did put a lot of money into video power. You know, so Acclaim was a big donor to the show. So a lot of the prizes, a lot of the prizes, a lot of the programming that was all Acclaim, which is kind of funny too.
Yeah, that's right. They distribute. You also remember these are the guys that distribute Double Dragon 2 and 3 for the NES.
There you go. Yep.
Heavily shows on the commercials.
So both better than the arcade.
You know, it
Yeah, absolutely.
a lot of people.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, a lot of people did say that when it came to like arcade ports, the arcade was so short. The reason why, because they're quarter munches. They are supposed to be short bursts. It's made to lose your quarters. The home version they can't do like that because the people will lose interest. So what they do, they make the game longer. They make the game more vertical and more horizontal. There's more things to do. It's very different from the arcade. Cutscenes, all that stuff, right? Like Double Dragon 2: The Revenge, much more fun than the arcade. Even though the arcade version was fun, it was awesome. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna discount Double Dragon 2: The Revenge, the arcade version. But when they brought it home, Acclaim brought it home. Acclaim really went all in and made that game epic.
Oh yeah.
2 players simultaneous. You could actually have it so you don't hit each other, which is a pain. There was a trick in the game where you can actually gain lives and everything by killing your partner. And all that stuff, and also to continue the game, you have to use a certain button combination with two controllers to actually continue. And each, and depending on which what part of stages you are in.
Right. And I remember that if you beat the game with the hardest difficulty, you get the true ending.
And you get the true ending. And I love how the final hit, because I was playing the game, exactly. Let me tell you something. That was so damn good. When I actually was fighting against that boss and everything, I was like sweating. And then when I finally got that final hit, it was like loud and dramatic. The whole screen went black and white and everything, and it went in slow motion when I was doing the cyclone kick. Oh, that was so good. Oh my gosh, so satisfying. I was like, yeah.
Awesome. With the flying knee, though, great.
Yeah, man.
That took so much damage.
Oh, yeah. That's the most powerful move in the game.
Very funny. That's why I learned how to do it. It was funny. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
So moving on.
So we talked about video power. Should we move on to GamePro?
Oh yeah. Actually, matter of fact, I was just getting there. So I'm actually going to talk about GamePro TV and video power. The very influential. Yeah. Pioneers of gaming on the small screen. So basically, in the early 1990s, as the video game surged into mainstream culture, two television shows emerged to capture the imagination of young gamers. GamePro TV and Video Power both served as early attempts to translate the excitement of video gaming into a broadcast format, each with its own unique flavor. So let's talk about GamePro TV, because we've talked a lot about Video Power, and I'm going to go back to that. GamePro TV was also very influential. It was more of that kind of Californian hip type of, with the, with it was silly, quirky kind of thing, kind of punchy, kind of game, and it was cool. I actually dug it. So JD Roth, who was one of the, and also Brennan B Man Howard.
I love those two guys. Those two guys had good chemistry together.
They really did, especially the B-Man. B-Man was like, like dude, that was like totally radical, man. He was like, wow, kind of. Yeah, you go, hey, man, and also when he goes into that secret pipe. And I also like the green screen stuff, thing where he actually jumps into like certain ports, and he talks about a new game or whatever it is, and the tips and tricks are pretty cool too. Yeah. So.
Secret weapons and tactics. Yeah.
Oh, weapons and tactics. SWAT. Yes. Secret weak weapons. Yep. Oh, so cool. So basically, the show featured. Go ahead.
I want to add something. I'm sorry.
Sure. Go ahead.
What's so great about that show is that we had to make sure that we had a pencil and a paper, just in case if there was a tip that we wanted to get, we wanted to write it down.
Yes. So cool.
What was nice about GamePro TV is that if you miss it, they said, let's repeat that one more time. Like they'll repeat it one more time, so that way if you miss it the first time, here's your second chance. Get it again. There you go. If you miss it at the second time, you have to wait for a refund.
Yeah, it's
the only way you can do it.
Yeah. It was so damn cool how they went about it, and on top of that, when you actually submit a secret or something like that, you actually get something. They said when you do the mail-ins, they choose one player to actually submit something, and if the pro chip is actually pretty cool and legit, they actually give you something like a T-shirt. I think they said a T-shirt, right? A GamePro T-shirt. Yeah. So it's pretty wild, man. That's awesome. I find that very, very cool. I wish they could bring something like that back. So.
What was cool? Don't forget, I
Blockbuster. Oh,
NES, Genesis, and Super Nintendo.
yes. Blockbuster Video. That's when Blockbuster Video was like the place to actually go and get newer games and rent them for a little bit. But, listen, listen. Okay, look, not everybody can be able to afford. Not everybody can be able to afford, a new game like all the time. The parents, they work hard, and of course, video games, being like a luxury more than a necessity. They say, oh, well, I got a Blockbuster card, and instead of rent some movies, I can rent you a couple of games. So they have any selection of NES, Super NES, Genesis games. You could, Nintendo. Yeah, exactly. Super Nintendo. You see, and another thing that's cool. Another thing that's cool. They actually have Blockbuster exclusive games that actually they collab with. Like for instance, Clay Fighter. Clay Fighter Tournament Edition was actually a Blockbuster exclusive. It was not available via retail, and the only way to be able to buy that game was when they were starting to they had like what you call the bargain bin. If they're getting rid of titles and stuff like that, and they have too many of them, you can be able to go into the bargain bin and be able to purchase the game, for less. Because
That's funny you mentioned that Play Fighter Forward. There was another game, Final Fight Guy.
Yes, that's right. Final Fight Guy was actually a Blockbuster exclusive. Oh wow, yeah, pretty wild, right? Amazing.
It is.
So
But so you was gonna talk more about Game Pro TV. Are you gonna go like because there was different versions of Game Pro TV we had. There was Game Pro TV Power Up.
no, I was just gonna get to that. I was just gonna get to that. Indeed. So right. I'm gonna. Yeah, well, of course, of course. So after its initial run, it returned in 1998 with a new host, Michael Comesser, and a more polished format on Fox Sports Net. So that means Fox actually picked up the show, and then and also it was short lived, so it didn't really last that long. They said it was more. I think they said from
like 6 episodes.
6 episodes. Yeah, like
the problem. Go ahead. But I was gonna say something, but the problem with that show was that like they didn't show new episodes till like the end of the month. Like after show the October episode, they showed the November episode. I mean, they would show Game Pro like every weekend, but it was the same episode. And that was the problem. Like why would I want to wait like a month to watch new episodes? And so that's why it didn't do too well. But there was also another Game Pro show as well. Like right after JD Rod's run with the show, because remember Brandon Howard left, so JD Rod was on his own. And then after JD Rod was done, they had something called Game Pro Powered Up with Scott Decker. And Scott Decker he would travel like around New York City. He would travel to Florida. He would go to all these different exotic places, and then he would tell you I'm gonna go check this place out, but check out this review on Shinobi 3 or this tip for Final Fight 2, or check out the preview for Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition, and they would show you the game, and they would show you like codes, and then again, but they did the same aspect. They said when they show a code, and if you miss it, they'll repeat it again, and they would show like the reviews and previews. It didn't last long, but it was a neat take though, because it shows you that this guy, Mr. Decker, was going to all these places, and then it'll probably show gamers, this place looks interesting. Oh, they got crocodiles, they have exotic animals. Maybe I go check this shit. I'll check this place out where this guy's going, and then. But they keep the asset that he remembers to remind you that this is, even though he's showing you all these entertainment wild sides, it's still a game show. It's still showing you all these games, these reviews, previews. I remember when they showed Mega Man X, there was a prototype version of Mega Man X.
wow.
And people was wondering, yeah. So they showed that, and then they were showing a preview of that, though, and then it got people thinking, like, how come we didn't see this screen, this level? Then people found out, like, years later, that was just a prototype version. So, but it was interesting at the time. But like I said, the show still kept it that lets you know that it's still a game show. It's not just Scott Decker going to all these different places about like he went to go visit Marvel Comics or he went to go visit Universal, all these other places. But it was a pretty unique take. I find that one better than the one that was on the sports channel.
You know, it's really cool that these wonderful shows are more, they're more and more um, influential than people actually realize. Believe it or not, a lot of these, a lot like for instance, G4 would not really even, even get off the ground if it wasn't for these wonderful shows. These shows were pioneers. These shows were the ones that literally put it into the gamer's hands and also showed that you can get information more real time than just magazine like snail mail magazine, because you have to wait until the next episode, next magazine to come out, and by that time the newer game either A already came out or B it's so far out you'll never even you'll never see it. And on top of that, there's been a lot of vaporware they actually showed in these magazines, like some of the games that they showed. Some of the games that they show in the magazine are not, just not available. Not available.
On that topic, let me interject. That's where the whole Sheng Long hoax came out of.
Really? Wow.
Yes. You must defeat Sheng Long to stand a chance.
Right.
That was GamePro, wasn't it?
Okay.
I believe so. I believe it was GamePro or it was either EGM.
I think it might have been EGM. EGN.
You think so?
Video games and video games and computer entertainment was one of them too. Video games. It was called.
I know it was
Video
passed
Games
around
and
there.
Something like that. Something like that. VG.
Nah, it was an EGM April Fool's prank.
That's right. Oh, that's right. That's
what it was. Yeah.
The Street Fighter one.
Never mind. I'm sorry for the derail.
Yeah. You know what?
Okay. It's all good.
We have to kind. That's really that's a deep dive, because that was like one of the first April Fool's jokes that people actually believed was real.
That was a mean one too. I tried.
That was a mean one. People, you have to last 10 rounds against M. Bison without getting hit. That means it had to be like a time over, almost near impossible. But someone actually did it, but then they realized and everything that it was a game over and everything, because it would be 3 rounds. It doesn't.
Yeah,
Actually,
it can't go 10
4
rounds.
rounds.
Right.
So once you go to the final round, then it's game over. Yeah. Pretty wild, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
I wonder how many people lost shoveling quarters into the machine trying that. It must have been nuts. Some guy tried to blow $20 for it.
Those poor people. That sucks though. Yeah. So
anything
else?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Dorian just mentioned Akuma in Resident Evil was one.
Yeah, it was Resident Evil, but that was also.
Hold on, let me check on our boy.
Yeah, that was also April Fool's show. I remember that. Yes.
Crazy, right? That one right there. That was a mean one too. I mean, Akuma in the Resident Evil, really? Come on, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't fall for it.
People were really trying to get that one. What was another one that was actually kind of funny? That was fake. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember.
Optimus Prime and Titanfall.
Yes.
Did you see that one?
That was,
it was pretty good though.
Oh
yeah.
People believe that one too.
Almost got me.
Dude, they were released those in April. So when it was like April, when I saw
I don't trust anything now.
I'm like,
yeah, people were very wary. People were like, always April.
They
you know what?
almost got me. I was excited too.
Yeah, nice try.
Oh goodness.
So anything else you want to add on GamePro? Either GamePro or GamePro's Power Up or the GamePro that was on Sports Network.
Actually, yeah. Let's talk about like, because right now, I mean, we talked about these 2 shows because we're actually going to have a long laundry list of other game shows, the video game info shows that were actually going on pretty much at a time, and also some of them was actually abroad in the UK, Canada, and a few
Yeah.
other places. Yeah, we're gonna go deep into that.
Oh, sure. Did you want to
But
just start on the camp because this show started in 1991. It ran through 2006. So I don't know if you could we start on this one?
but we'll start on this one, I think, after our first commercial break. So
Sure.
so what
All
we'll
right.
do, what we'll do is we'll go to our first commercial break, and then we'll be right back, and we'll talk about we'll go with deep dive into some more video game shows that people actually either remember, might know more about than us, or might be interesting, and find out, maybe we can deep dive into those too. All right, so we will be right back in a few minutes. Take care, guys. Hold on.
What the heck was that? Forgot what I was gonna say.
Welcome to the next level.
Hey, what's up, players? It is I, Torrance Hudson, also known as HUD Zero. We now have a Patreon so that you can donate to our show. All the funds will be redistributed to you, the players, through giveaways, contests, and special programming, and more. All it takes is $5 to get inducted into our Sounds of Trouble page, which usually is shown at the end of our show, also scrolled across the bottom of the screen. Also, you will get invited to special videos that are not available on YouTube or Twitter. It is a private show with all our off-the-air shenanigans that we cannot show at all. And you're going to really enjoy yourselves. And if you decide to put in $500, you will get that, plus you will be known as a founder. And you will be a permanent member of the Sounds of Trouble, your name embedded in gold, and you will get a personalized jersey on us with your name on it. It's really a great honor, especially if you do that. There's only 4 slots available, so if you decide to do that, thank you. But there will be more tiers added as time goes on in the future. So join our Patreon today and help us turn up the treble.
Severely had one TV and I'd get kicked out. So.
Yeah.
Suck.
All right, we are back. All right, so we actually already discussed, a couple of shows that are really big pioneers, especially when it comes to the video game information age. But there were also many other shows that actually kind of fell in between that some people are probably not even familiar with. So let's talk about pixels and personalities. The deep dive into video game shows of the 90s and 2000s. And we're going to start with before YouTube, before Twitch, before social media. So how our video games were consumed were dealing with our video game info shows. But the ones that actually kind of stood out, we already discussed. There are some that people probably either remember, but it was short-lived and probably didn't get a chance to. So I'm gonna shoot some out for you, some obscure ones, and see if one sticks out to you. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. Games Master. It came out in the UK between 1992 and 1998. It actually did also get rebooted in 2021, which is weird because that was recent. That was fairly recent.
Interesting.
I didn't even know that. It was a
I want to look it up now.
Yeah, it was a pioneering British show that blended game reviews, challenges, celebrity appearances. It actually was mainstream TV in the UK, so this is like the United Kingdom. So so probably never aired in the US. Dominic Diamond, if you're actually familiar with that guy, he was the face of the show for the original run. And Dexter Fletcher, he was actually replaced them in season 3. So he only was there for two seasons. And then Sir Patrick Moore, he played, he was actually played the titular game master. So he's like a floating head that kind of shows up. He dispenses gaming wisdom and challenges to all the passerbys.
Yeah, I've seen clips of the show. I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah.
Was that a magazine too in the UK?
Games Master, I think.
Could it be like their Game Pro?
I don't think so, but there was a game magazine.
I'm looking up stuff here. That's what it looks like.
Really?
Yeah, there's a Games Master magazine that was like 1993 to 2018.
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty much the same.
It's pretty much Game Pro TV,
Holy cow.
more
UK.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull.
Interesting.
Let me see if I can pull that one up. Hold on a second. Let me. I want to pull that one up and see if we can actually see for ourselves. Let's see.
Yeah, I think they do. That's an old magazine to check out if I can find them.
Wait, really? Holy cow!
I'll ask my cousins in the UK. See if they got some for me to check out.
Interesting.
I remember somebody uploaded the Mortal Kombat episode where they had Daniel Pesina, guest appearance on that show, and they had him playing the Genesis version of Mortal Kombat. And I think they had the actress who played Sonya. I forgot what was her name. I think it was Elizabeth.
Oh, Carrie Hoskins.
Yeah.
Was it
not Carrie Hoskins?
The one before
Carrie
Hoskins.
I'm sorry, it wasn't the third one.
Elizabeth Malachy or something like that.
Yes, she was there. And Hunso Park was there, who played Liu Kang. I think I'm sure he was there.
He's a chill dude, man.
I
met him before. Yeah, very nice guy. Awesome dude.
Yeah.
Hope he's doing well.
And then he showed up again in WMAC Masters, which is actually pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Superstar. And his brother was Star Warrior.
He was still dressed like Liu Kang and still doing the Liu Kang sounds, so it's WMAC. It was great.
Of course.
I was like, yo, that's the Mortal Kombat 2 guy. This is dope.
Yeah,
yep.
It really started.
They had Chris Master who plays Scorpion.
Yeah.
Yep. Red Dragon.
Red Dragon.
Cool guy too.
Indeed. So the reboot actually happened in 2021. Robert Florence, actually had a co-host Frank Ward and Ty Logan.
Okay.
Frankie Ward actually sounds familiar. What did Frankie Ward do before? I was trying to look that up and everything. I think he was. Didn't he do a soap opera of some sort? I think he did a soap opera like back in the day. Hold on a second. Let me see. Frank Ward. See if we can actually pull him up in the IMDb.
That's what I'm looking for. Yo, did you know Vinnie Jones was on that show like 3 times? According to
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised though, because Vinnie Jones is a big star in the UK.
Game Pro had some stars on there too. I think they had like John Madden on there. At least once, right?
Wait. Frankie Ward is a female. That's a female.
Oh, okay.
It's a female. Frankie Ward.
I know Frank Thomas. Frank Thomas was on Game Pro TV because they were promoting his game. Frank Thomas Big Hurt Baseball.
Yo, they had some very star-studded guests came on here on the show.
It was big. It was big in the UK. Yeah, it was really big in the UK.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan was on it.
Yep. They're wrestling stars and some movie stars. I think who else showed up on the show?
Yeah, it was pretty big.
Yeah.
Some episodes.
So the show actually the last time it aired was in 2021. Yeah. So actually no, it's still going. I think it's
still going. I thought the show
ended. It's still going. Yeah, it's still going. So
let's look for it on BritBox.
I might have to check it. I might have to check it out because I mean,
Yeah.
If it's still on the air, I'll have to look into it myself.
Yeah, definitely.
It's one of the only gaming shows you can check out. So I'm going to check it out. Why not?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Here's another good one. Bad Influence. Also from the UK.
Never heard of that.
That aired in 1992 through 1996. Now, if if any of our listeners are from the UK, if you actually, are watching the show right now, hit that like button. What are you doing? Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Tell all your buddies. Okay? Cheers. And it actually, once again, this is funny. The host was Andy Crane. He was a BBC presenter who brought a friendly, informative tone. Violet Berlin. So I think she's the tech-savvy co-host who later appeared as a character in Micro Machines 2.
Okay.
And then Z Wright was the U.S. correspondent who covered American gaming trends. So it was more of an informative show, not too quirky, none of that fancy stuff. But it only lasted for about 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually looked into it. It looked kind of boring. It was a CITV show that offered. No, seriously, it was. I was actually falling asleep. It's a CITV show that offered a mix of game reviews, tech news, and important previews. It was known for its fast-paced editing and data blast segment. So in other words, it was like this. Like everything was, like information. If you missed it,
So just going just fast like that, just like that.
Yeah, it's really it was. I couldn't keep up. It was like
Gotcha. Yeah.
So, let's see. We already talked about GamePro TV. Nick Arcade. Here's a fun one. Nick Arcade, which actually aired in 1992. It's a Nickelodeon game show with contestants answer trivia, play video games, actual video games, and also did a green screen video zone challenge. That was kind of cool. I actually watched the show. My sister kind of got into it. They weren't really into video games, but this show kind of caught their attention. Showed up on Nickelodeon usually on weekdays. Oh, no, weekends actually. Was it a weekend? Yeah, it was on weekends. It was Saturday.
They showed it on weekends, and then they showed some reruns like right after.
Yeah. The host was Phil Moore. And he actually guided the kids through arcade-inspired chaos. Now, what's pretty fun about the video zone challenge, was the green screen. You can see the green screen, and they're actually jumping over things and whatever, and you get points and you get coins, and if you get the special bonus or something like that, you get like a trip or whatever. Pretty cool.
And you find one of the bosses at the end. I remember that.
Find one of the bosses at the end, exactly. Wasn't it 2-player also? There was a 2-player one where
I think. Well, what happened was it was at the end, like whatever team won, the first player goes play their own level, and then after they're done with that level, the second player plays their own level, and then after the second player finishes their level, then the two of them fights the boss. Like they had to get these 3 orbs before the boss shoots them with fireballs and stuff.
And it was time. It was time too, right? Yeah, it was time.
It was time, and if they lose the life, then they have to restart, and they got to do it again until they can actually win. If they're able to beat the boss, then they get some kind of big prize after that.
Wow, what a wild time it was. That was the most interactive game show pretty much ever. It was actually innovative too. So, but the fact that they actually played actual video games, which was also pretty cool too. So you get a high score,
the video
and
challenge.
You get points. Video challenge.
Yeah, the video challenge is they go over there and they play whatever random games they have over there. But I thought that was one of the best parts of the show because I wanted to see what games they had there.
Yeah, they had Battletoads one time. It was Battletoads.
They had Ghost Pilots.
Ghost Pilots.
Yeah, Ghost Pirates there. They had King of the Monsters,
Kingdom
which
Monsters.
they had Neo Geo games, which I was really surprised that they had. So that caught my attention.
They had the money for it. I mean, Neo Geo was an expensive piece of kit.
Yeah, and they had Legend. Yep, they had Legend of the Mystical Ninja. That was one of the games they had there. I used to love that game.
I love that game.
Legend of the Mystical Ninja. Wow.
That was on. Yeah, that was on the.
And then he made another one
in Japan. It was called
N64.
Goemon. It was called Goemon. Goemon.
Goemon.
Goemon. Yeah, Goemon.
Right.
Goemon. Yeah, yes.
There's Goemon.
Goemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then
He looks
then
like
there's
Kid
another.
Nicky. Remember Kid Nicky?
Oh, I love Kid Nicky.
Yeah, he looks like Kid
that
Nicky.
game was hard, man.
Yeah.
You know that
It's still
the
hard.
bosses and
It's
stuff
still
like that.
hard, dude.
Oh, so awesome! I love that game. The one-hit wonder games. Game Guru. You know that's also UK. UK had a lot of shows. Oh,
they did. From what you're telling me, I didn't even know about these shows.
They had more shows than the US did. They aired
It's colder
more
there,
shows
so they stay inside and play
UK.
video games more.
They aired more shows in the UK than they did, you know, than in the Americas, and that's really, really odd. Because I think around that time, I think G4 wasn't it G4? Wasn't it G4 that actually?
What about G4?
Well, yeah, sorry, before G4, Tech TV. Tech TV was actually airing at that time. And that's where they actually were kind of dabbling into like game information and computer and more computer and PC based information.
Yeah.
So, but Game Guru came out in the early 2000s. Here's an overview. It's a live call-in show on a game network where reviewers ask for cheats and tips. The host was Larry Bundy Jr., also known as Guru.
Okay,
Larry.
I heard of him. I heard
Yes.
of Larry Bundy Jr. Yes, on YouTube.
Later he actually became a YouTube personality. So there you go. And then you had like a few others that kind of just came and gone. Boydster, Wes, Janice, and many others. And they each had their own style and fan following. So that was like one of the more web-based, like call-in type of show. Pretty cool, you know, where YouTube kind of took the cue from that particular type of, programming, and ran off with it, off to the races. So this is actually one of the influencers that kind of meshed what the TV show did into modern influencers today. What, you were gonna say something?
No, I wasn't gonna say anything. I don't know. Tony.
I thought Tony was gonna say something.
Oh no, I was just adjusting my earbud.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Yeah. Any other UK shows you're gonna mention? Because I was gonna mention this Canadian show after.
Oh yeah. A few more honorable mentions. Game World. That's also UK. Aired in 1993, 1998. Actually, it was a
93 to
Sky
98, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
UK was a spot if you were a gamer back then.
Yeah, they had. I couldn't believe how many game shows they had.
Yeah.
Sky
One. Yep, Sky One is Sky One, which is actually like a cable network. They feature competitive gaming, cheat segments, and character-driven hosts. So the hosts were Bob Mills, David Williams, Big Boy Barry, and then of course the game animal Dave Perry. Who knows Dave Perry? You know who Dave Perry is?
Of course.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the one who actually created what's called the Clay Fighter games, of course.
Yes.
So
and Earthworm Jim.
Yep. And Earthworm Jim. That's right.
Earthworm Jim is my boy.
Yes.
Yes, he is.
Groovy.
Love that dude.
Yep. And
What
of
an
course,
insane game.
who could forget,
Yeah.
you know,
1 and 2 were great.
Princess Slug for a butt. Of course, you know, come on, you know, you can't.
I love
you
the
can't,
the cartoon
Never
was
gonna
great,
forget that.
especially he was voiced by Homer Simpson though. If you watch the animated series that was on
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
I did not know that. That's funny.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool, man. So awesome. There's a few more honorable mentions and thing. Then Johnny's going to mention one that actually, believe it or not, a lot of people may or may not know about. We got Games World that also aired. Okay, that's another one. I think I mentioned that already. Gainesville.
I think we mentioned that.
Yeah, Gainesville. That actually came out between 2003 and 2004. Wow, that's another one that's actually recent. It only lasts for a year. Wow. Okay. Also another Sky One successor to Games World. So basically, this was actually after Games World. They actually brought it back as Gamesville. Aimed at younger audiences with reviews, competitions, and Ask the Guru segments. So Jamie Atiko and Darren Malcolm, known as J and D. And then, of course, the Guru is actually a mystery figure who no one knows their face. I think it was like blanked out, and that's in the background and stuff like that. And he's supposed to like give out cheats and tips and stuff like that.
So he was like a mystery guy.
Yeah, being all mysterious and stuff. Hilarious.
That's unique.
Let's see, what's another one? Extended play. Okay, now we're getting to the meat and potatoes here. Now, some people may or may not know extended play. But the extended play actually started when ZDNet actually had their ZD TV, which also was AKA Tech TV. They merged, or they meshed together, and then they became a television program that everybody well known as X-Play. It aired in 1998 to 2013. What a good run. Great run. That was like my go-to place. I actually liked its quirkiness. I liked the lightheartedness. They didn't really take it too seriously. It's what an amazing time. It originally extended play on ZDTV, became X-Play on Tech TV, and later G4. It was known for its relevant humor and in-depth reviews. The hosts were Adam Sessler, everybody knows him, the sharp critic with a dry wit, Morgan Webb, who actually, believe it or not, she didn't really appear into any of these shows until like later on. Wasn't she a model at one time too?
Who?
I think she was like
Morgan Webb.
Yeah, Morgan Webb.
I can't remember. I can't remember if she was a model at one time, or she was a TV personnel or some other shows that she did.
And she actually kind of joined them like at the latter period of extended play, and then that's when they turned it into X-Play. And then Blair Herter and Kristen Adams actually at the latter end of the X-Play.
I thought Kristen Adams was great. I thought she had a really good personality.
She really did. I mean, she actually had that lightheartedness. She had that wit. She had the snappy comebacks. Also, when Blair actually said something, and and she always kind of snaps back, which is pretty cool.
I'm looking up Morgan Webb. She's my age, dude, and like she didn't come from anything. She was like a college student or something like that.
Really?
She was doing she was a website administrator. So she actually was a tech person and knew what she was talking about. She wasn't just some person they put in front of there and had to read lines.
Yeah, to look pretty. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Which is probably the reason why. I mean, we're gonna go into the downside of it and everything after our next commercial break. But it had a good run. It had a very good run. And of course, because of creative differences, there was actually a little inside baseball. It didn't really go well. And Adam Sessler has parted ways with the company, and and yada yada.
Yeah,
And I think
everything went
mentioned
downhill
that.
a bit.
Yeah, and he mentioned that stuff like that. But we're gonna get back into extended play thing later on in this podcast. Yeah, I think everybody knows about it, but we'll dive deeper into that. Chips with everything, another UK show. My gosh, UK
I want some chips.
UK has all the game shows,
UK are
man.
getting the chips. They're getting all the goods.
But then
I
again,
love fish and chips and I love video games. I'm going to the UK.
listen, you can't have, you can always have both worlds, the fish and chips, video games.
I only been to the UK twice.
Ah, so good. Fish and chips, man. You can't go wrong with that. All right, if you don't know what fish and chips are and everything, I think you need to get out of your cave and actually touch grass. Fish and
amazing.
chips is not,
Fish and chips is amazing.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's basically French fries.
Like I said,
That's what chips are.
yeah, like I said, I've been to London twice already, so.
No, they're not French fries, man. Look at what they hook you up. They're like potato wedges.
They're like potato wedges,
That's
right?
what it is, yeah.
Potatoes.
Yeah,
Fried
they're
potatoes.
They hook you
Fried
up.
potatoes,
Yeah.
basically.
They hook you up.
So good though, and they give you a nice lager with it. Oh, let me say, knock one back.
I'm good for the night.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
You're
Any
fed.
UK listeners, thank you. I love fish and chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are
fed. You just go there. Like I said, you just go there. You just have that for like either lunch or dinner, and that's it. You're good. You're done for the day.
Shout out to all my UK brethren out there. Listen, you guys and everything. You guys rock. You got the best beer and you got the best sports. Of course, playing some football, amazing. You guys
rugby,
are always,
baby. Rugby.
You guys know how to party. Oh, rugby too.
Yeah.
Yes,
UK
rugby.
knows how to party.
Yes, you know how to party, and you got the best. And you guys are one of the best beers. Really, you really do.
Oh, you should definitely go see the nightlife over there. I've been there. It's wild over there.
That's on my bucket list. I'm definitely
definitely
get a flight out there before I leave this planet. I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show up at a fan's house in the UK and stay overnight, like Clark Griswold in European Vacation.
Oh
God.
Yes.
I'm just gonna show up. Like, hey, how are you?
I wasn't really a big fan of that one though, but everybody has their likes for that movie. But yeah,
I love them all. I love all those vacation movies.
Yeah. European one's my least favorite one, but anyways, go ahead. Do you have another UK show before I go into the
listen,
Canadian
you know
show?
what? I have a couple more in the thing before we go into our next commercial break. Chips with everything. We already mentioned that. Kate Russell, later known for her work on BBC. So, Guy Clapperton.
The biggest channels in the UK.
He provided tech analysis and commentary, and those are the only two posts and everything. So basically, I think it's still going on. It says, well, since early 2000s, but it didn't really say that if it actually just stopped airing. I might have to look into that. Cybernet, which is actually another UK television show, came out in 1994 and actually ended in 2004. Globally syndicated show produced by Thames Television, often game previews and news. That's a pretty interesting show. I actually watched a couple of clips. Lucy Longhurst, she actually has it's actually more like voiceovers. So you have that, and then you have Steve Truitt, who hosted the U.S. version briefly. So they actually had a U.S. version of this. Pretty wild. I had no idea. And here's one that's very, very familiar. And then we're going to deep dive into this one too. Electric Playground. Everybody should know what. Everyone should know who Electric Playground is. Electric Playground.
Yeah, it's on YouTube right now. Yes.
Yep. One of the longest running video game shows, covering reviews, interviews, and industry news. The host, Victor Lucas, which is still going strong, still doing hosting the show. My Canadian brother from another mother. He is really awesome. He's very informative. He actually has a level head about a lot of stuff. He's out there, man. He's hustling. He's doing his thing. And of course, every other time and everything, they actually have some other co-hosts They had like Julie Stoffer, Scott Jones. They actually kind of showed up, and they give their little insights. They're probably out there on on the town and going to the conventions and whatever. So he's kind of diversified everything, not just in the gaming, but also gaming culture. So like not just video games, but like movies and comic books and show figurines and what have you. And he's very opinionated. So he has a very solid argument for a lot of things that are showing up. For instance, like when it comes to Expedition 33, he was kind of on the fence with that game, which is odd to me because it was an amazing game, but he felt that it just wasn't his cup of tea. It feels like it didn't resonate with him, and sorry, but I highly disagree with his views.
Yeah, I
but
you're not going to agree with what everybody said. There could be you could have a favorite YouTuber that you like to watch, or a favorite person who reviews games and stuff like that. There's always going to be times you're never going to agree with them 100% on everything.
Yeah.
Well, of course.
Cool. I'm cool with that.
That's the way how life is.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is that's what's cool. That's what's so cool about the industry right nowadays. It's always good to have a solid opinion. It's always good to actually have different views. It's always good to have your own likes and dislikes. You don't have to have a yes man. Yes men are thing I don't like. I don't have to agree with everything you like. You don't have to agree with everything I like. We have our different tastes. We have our
fanboyism kills it, man. Just be crazy fanboy.
Listen, man, that hive mentality is so toxic.
Yeah.
It's really bad. It's like if you don't agree with the person 100%, that person don't even want to talk to you anymore. I'm like, what? What? I'm like, well, like, what are we doing here? I remember, like, during the times, like, back in the 90s, this one person said, oh, well, I kind of like Mortal Kombat 3 better. He said, well, I like Mortal Kombat 2 better. He said, well, I prefer MK3. I was like, okay, that's fine. Hey, let's go check out a movie. Let's go have a pizza or something. Great. And we forget about the conversation that ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, people don't be holding grudges against people because they don't like the same thing as they do. It's like, come on, what are we doing here?
Yo,
why
you push it on you constantly. They push it on you. Like, yo, shut up. All right?
Yeah, they want to feel vindicated by having you say, oh yeah, you agree, and they feel like they won, and they get their victory lap and everything. They get to sit right there, eat their Cheetos, and rub their freaking fingers all over their wife beaters, and and feel good about themselves. Inside their mother's basement.
It's not the way, man. That's not the way to go about.
It's not. Tommy Tallarico.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was gonna
say. No, I just don't want to interrupt. If you're still talking about electric jet playground, I just don't want to interrupt. But go ahead and finish it up, and then go on to another show.
So Tommy Tallarico is a very well outspoken young lad, not young anymore, who actually is a host and also a composer. He actually he did amazing soundtracks for games like Terminator, the Sega CD game. He did Spot, this cool Spot. Cool and cool. The Mac and Mick. With the Mick and McDonald's one.
I know which one you're talking about. It was it wasn't it called McKids?
Yeah, McKids. Yes, the McKids game.
Did he do the NES version or was it the Genesis version?
I think it was the Genesis version, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was the Genesis version. Yeah, it was the Genesis version. Yeah.
Okay.
And Cool Spot, of course, he did the music for that. But the second CD version of it was the bee's knees, man. That soundtrack was epic.
Terminator, yes. Oh, that was a great game.
Yes, indeed. I still have his soundtrack. I still have it in my on my thing. So that's like something I listen to once.
I would love to play that game again.
Yeah.
It's a callback. He worked on Earthworm Jim too.
So yeah, we will dive further into that one because he left around, I think it was the third or fourth season. I think he actually left to pursue his gaming soundtrack career and whatever. I think he actually did the Adventures of Dex. Dex was called. I think it was called Dex. Yeah, it's called Dex. And the character's name is Wex. And it was for the PlayStation.
I have to look into that.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, I forgot what it was called.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It rhymes with his name. Let's just put it that way. So chat. If you know what this game is I'm talking about, Tommy Tallarico did actually help with that game, and I believe also Dave Perry was the one who helped design the game. Let me know. Please, was it Gex? I don't think it was Gex. Gex is
Gex is the lizard.
Gecko. That's like
the Gecko.
Yeah, that's the Gecko game. It wasn't Gex. It was something else.
No.
I'll figure it out. All right, chat. If you actually know who I'm talking about, please shout it out and let me know. I'm actually been looking up. I think they played that game for the PlayStation like a long, long time ago. It was like a 2.5 3D, 2.5D side-scrolling game, and it was highly difficult, with enemies, and you could have, you have your like buzz weapon and all that stuff, and you get to, go through these puzzles and whatever. Pretty cool.
I think it was Dex.
Was it? Was it called Gex?
I'm looking on Steam, and it sounds like what you're describing.
Oh, so it was Gex.
That's what it looks like.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Are you sure it was Gex? Are you sure it was Gex?
What year was it from?
Gecko?
No,
19...
Dex.
Oh, Dex.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Gex
I was right. So it was Dex. See, I knew it was.
Wait, no, maybe I'm wrong. Hold on.
No?
What year was it?
19.
Why don't you go to this guy's resume and he'll show you exactly what it is.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do that right now, actually.
Yeah, I got to know because it's going to bug me.
Yeah, it's going to bug me too. So you guys keep on talking, I think, while I look this one up. I have to. No, seriously.
Are you done with all the UK shows?
Yes. I'm done with all of it. So go ahead and add your one.
Yeah, I'll talk about a video and arcade top 10, which is a show from Canada, and it was very unfortunate for us U.S. Viewers that we didn't get to see it. The show started in 1991 and it ended in 2006. What was unique about the show is like contestants come to the show and they compete. And they would compete whatever game they were playing. Sometimes they would. What was fun about that show, they also competed against other players in Street Fighter 2, and whoever wins, they'll either get that game and then they'll get some other prizes too as well. Now, not only do they have people competing for these shows, but the co-hosts. I'll tell you the hosts' names. You have Nicholas Picolas, Alexis Duguay. You probably know who she is. She was in Jason X, the main actress in Jason X, and she was also in Stargate SG-1. She was on V, the new series that was based on the old sci-fi show, and she was in the 4400. And she made up this was like one of her first gigs, and she actually was the girl that explains to you like more tips. Like I saw a video of her. She was explaining how to get to the bonus stages in Super Mario Land 2, the 6 golden coins. So yeah, so that's how some of these Canadian actors got their start, was from the show. And then they also had another actor that's out there right now. He appeared. His name is Gordon Woodville. Woolby. He's, he was after he did this show, he went on and worked on Supernatural and some other sci-fi shows as well. You had Lisa Former, you had Wayne Parker, Krista Herman. If you go look her up, she looks like Morgan Webb, and Mika Ward. And these and then there was like more and more people that started coming on the show to be either the host or the co-host. Now during the show, as I mentioned before, not only you had contestants competing for like whatever game it was they're playing, because they were playing like a bunch of games, because this show, like I said, lasted from '91 to 2006. They also talked about like the latest tips, upcoming games, movies, TV shows, and music as well. Like they would, each co-host will have a segment. Like let's say, for example, like let's just say Christine Herman, like she would cover like movies, and Mika Ward would cover something on music. So it was basically like an entertainment show. But what's cool about this, if they had people like write letters to them, and if they write letters to them, the host, like what the host does, they would send like a prize to that person who got their letter written on the show. So it's obviously one of the most popular shows in Canada. They probably had like thousands of letters to them. So they would pick random, and then they would read it out, and then they read them tip, whatever it is, and then they said, since you got your letter read on the show, we'll send you the game that was showed for our contestants that were competing in. Like if they played Battle Clash, the person who wrote that letter will get a copy of Battle Clash.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they pretty much cover everything on entertainment. It wasn't just like video games, but their main focus was pretty much on games. Because like I said before, they had the contestants compete on the show to get some prizes, and the loser will still get some prizes. Not the big prizes the winner get. The loser prize will probably get like maybe like a dinner at a medieval restaurant or whatever it is, or like free gift certificates to movies and stuff like that. They'll get something at the end, just like Video Power.
Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, all these people on these hosts on that show, it's like you could tell these people had personality. Every single one of them had personality. That's why when I see this show, I can see, no wonder why this show lasted for a very long time. So I wish I would have watched this show. I wish this show was available to watch in the U.S. during that time. It would have been nice.
Well, I mean,
that's all I have to say about it.
It did last for like how many years? Like about is it still going on though? Isn't it still airing or no?
Video and Arcade Top 10? No, it ended in 2006.
2006. Okay, so it did end.
It started in '91 and then ended in 2006.
So that was a good run too. That was a really good run also. I
was watching a few reruns of those shows. There's some reruns on YouTube. I think I showed I gave Tony a clip, a link to. They had like 8 hours of the show.
Yeah. I actually got an opportunity to watch about like an hour of it, and yeah, and actually once I gotten further, it was cool because they actually had a segment where I believe one of the female leads, I forgot her name, kind of shows up, and if they talk about tips and tricks and stuff like that, she actually mentions it. Mm-hmm. And then of course it goes into the gameplay segment, where people are playing games, and they actually do like viewer mail also, and it's pretty well thought out show, and I actually really enjoy that type of thing. And but with another but as we go deep dive into it, we're gonna go into another commercial break, and then we're gonna deep dive into G4, the Rise and Fall, and there's a lot to dissect. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.
You pack quite a punch. Nice. You pack quite a punch. Nice.
You're not bad yourself.
I wore my old outfit just for you.
Ooh, vintage. That's hot.
You're hot. How about a kiss, baby? Works every time.
Unlock Scorpion's classic skin and Fatality. A GameStop exclusive when you pre-order Mortal Kombat. Power to the player. Here's the situation.
A contaminated energy drink has turned everyone into mutants. All this place needs is a hero. One who doesn't just survive, but does it with style. Who is this hero? Me! Not me? Oh, you!
Pre-order the exclusive Sunset Overdrive Special Edition. Only $349.99.
Rated M for mature.
We are born of the blood. Made men by the blood. Undone by the blood.
You can all run if you want to. You can all hide if you need. But I'm gonna cut you down. PlayStation.
All right, and we are back. This one is going to be pretty interesting because we're going to double back to a wonderful channel that everyone who who's young, about in their teens, probably into their mid-teens, near early 20s, actually knows about this channel. And believe it or not, it was a blip on the radar because only Comcast actually owned it. And it was only available for only a few select cable boxes. And we're talking about G4. G4 didn't really exist. It existed in a small bubble. And it was more of a web-based show, similar to a lot of shows like talking about information and what have you. I actually want to kind of pull up a clip that showed up recently, and I want you guys to kind of take a look at it. Yeah, I was actually kind of shocked when I saw it. Let me see if I can pull this one up. And I said, and you'll see a familiar face as well. Let's see if I can get this work. I'm pretty sure I will. Okay, here we go. Yep, here we go. Right here. All right, so it's gonna pop up right now.
Environment if it's not going to look real. He says, give me blood or I ain't buying the game.
So we're talking about blood in game? Puddin', you're not a big fan of blood in game?
No, I think it's great that EA puts a game out like this where you have a choice. There's availability if you want the blood, and you can purchase it without the blood. I think it's great.
But the blood isn't really available. This is a hack. This is gamers in the community kind of saying, we want the blood. We'll make it ourselves if we have to.
No, you're right. I don't know why EA made a decision like that. Again, a lot of these companies, it's a money thing. It's like if they lower the rating, they're going to get more people to buy the game. So that's why they did it. I think it stinks, for the consumer who plays Medal of Honor 1, puts money into it and then gets a different game when, especially a different rated game when they buy the second one.
But it's like if you would have watched Saving Private Ryan, and every time someone got shot, there was no blood that came out. Wouldn't that kind of change the movie for you?
Well, yeah, it would change the movie. It wouldn't make it as realistic, but also it would be different if the Saving Private Ryan 1 was like that and 2 came out and then all of a sudden there was no blood. I think the biggest difference is that they changed the game on the...
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I saw that. I said, "Holy cow!" I was actually kind of shocked. So basically, before G4 TV was a thing, and Tech TV was pretty much on its last run, so to speak, Comcast bought the rights to G4 And at that time, it was called G4 TV. Before that, it was called G4TV.com, which was more of a web-based style question-answer session.
Right, I did see documents on that. Yeah.
Yes, and they merged it together, and they created a huge channel, and they called it G4. The G4, the host was Diane Mazzota.
Right.
Diane Mazzota.
She was in. Yeah, she was in Austin Powers' I think it was Gold Member. She played. I think it was the Japanese twins though. She played one of the Japanese twins. I'm not gonna. I don't want to say the. Tony knows what I'm talking about.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah,
yes.
boy.
Woo,
yeah.
If Tony says it, I'm gonna say it. Screw it.
Yeah.
You're not saying the word, man. Just that's their name. They played it on a PG-13 movie. You're good.
Indeed.
Right.
And then.
But anyways, go back to her. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So they had shows such as Filter, which actually aired about between 2002 and 2005. Pulse, which was a gaming tech and headlines. And then Arena, another one that was a competitive gaming show. Yeah, they was similar to Nick Arcade and all that stuff. So you could play video games to win prizes. All these shows were fantastic, and it's so sad that it was a short run. It only lasted for 2 years. 2 years. Yeah, every single one I'm mentioning right now lasted for 2 years. Filter lasted for 3 years.
Pulse was actually a good show as well. That was a weekly show that talks about news in the gaming industry. I thought that was a really good show.
Now here's a fun fact: Arena actually hosted Will Wheaton for a short period of time. Will Wheaton, yes, that Will Wheaton, the one who was actually from Star Trek. That's right. So he was actually hosted for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And Travis Oates. You gonna say something, Johnny, about that?
I don't know if you heard me though. Did you hear me talk about Pulse?
Yes.
Yeah, Pulse was a weekly game show. Not game show. It was a weekly gaming news show. I thought that was a really good show because I remember when I first watched it, and they announced that SNK was doing a Neo Geo Battle Coliseum where they're gonna have all their characters from all their franchises battled out in a 2-on-2 fighting game, which I thought was going to be cool and unique at the time. So that's where I found out more news about that. And then there was also Icons, which is a really, really good documentary show. Like the Dreamcast one I showed you like a week ago. Like they would talk about like Icons was like a show. Like they would talk like documentaries. Like the main topic. Let's say they would talk about Mortal Kombat or the SNK or Metal Gear. Like they would talk about like the history of these franchises. Or you know what I'm saying? Like,
stuff like that, man. I want to see stuff like that. I want to talk about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And exactly, and that was good. That was actually one of my favorite shows though, because I like to watch it because who doesn't want to know the history about all these popular games and all these popular companies?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, if you go on YouTube, you can actually find like all the episodes there, and those were fantastic.
Believe it or not, Tech TV kind of resurrected as a web show now.
Really?
They went back to the roots, and you can go directly to Tech TV, and you can subscribe to them now, and they will have episodes, and they actually resurrected Cinematech. And Cinematech is still going strong. They actually okay. If you don't know what Cinematech is, Cinematech was a kind of like a amalgam of certain cutscenes and
cutscenes from video games
of certain video games, and eventually and also sometimes in between they actually have a little segment that's funny because there's a little banter that kind of happens back and forth, and it's usually a particular game that actually has that kind of question and answer kind of thing. It's pretty fun. It's hilarious. I like what they do because it kind of breaks it up a little bit. And they actually did one with Mindgate Conspiracy, although Psyops, the Mindgate Conspiracy. What else? Like Metal Gear Solid. They actually did the cinema scene for that. It's cool. Cinematheque was actually really awesome. It was like one of those weekend shows. Like showed up on a Sunday. Was it Sunday? I think.
Sunday or Saturday.
Sunday morning.
Usually it's like at the afternoons.
Yeah.
It's like in the afternoons they would show that. Yeah.
Exactly. And it was so cool.
And and they would show Chisto. Yeah. There was Chistos, another show that they would talk about like cheats for games and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
and also I think there was called another show called something Kings. What was it called again? Console Kings. Kings. It was short lived though. It only lasted for like a year. I think it was a year. 1 year.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Console Kings. Listen. When G4 got started, there were so many interesting shows, and then they decided to like cut them off because there wasn't enough fanfare behind it. Sad. I think that it had a lot of potential. I mean, and variety was there. But now, I mean, we can go. We're gonna dive back into it. Trust me, that'll be our last segment. But oh my gosh, I have a lot to say. But the legacy and the cultural impact of all of these said shows were cultural touchstones. They actually introduced games to new titles, legitimized gaming as a serious hobby. And listen, let's just put it this way: you want to know what put E3 on the map, made it more visualized than anything else? It was these shows. They actually had boots on the ground, and people like us who are not privy to all of the industry secrets, we got the front seat with these shows to see all the stuff on this floor, see all the wonder and the big displays and the booth babes and the booth dudes and the swag that you see and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So damn cool. And exclusive interviews with some of the developers. Come on, man. You couldn't get any better. Let me tell you something. I was so tuned in during G4 week, during E3 week. G4 and several other sites were tuned in. And everybody was choosing their favorite channels to actually see this stuff in real time on everything that's going on the floor. Everybody wanted to know the newest stuff. I believe it was GameSpot that led the charge for that. There was a CD collection that actually had 3 particular ones talking about the newer consoles. One for the PlayStation 3, one for the Xbox 360, and one for the Nintendo. Was it the Nintendo Switch? No, the Wii. The Wii.
The Wii. The Wii. It had to be the Wii. Yeah.
The Wii. Yes. So damn cool. So awesome. And everybody was tuned in. I watched it. I was like, yes. Come on, man. Let me tell you something. It was peak at that time. Video gaming was peak. Everything was more mainstream. Everything was actually all in your face. And believe it or not, it was all because of these wonderful video game information shows. I mean, and I had to tip my hat to all the wonderful pioneers, the wonderful hosts, the wonderful channels that decided to say, you know what, let's give it a shot. And, and now, though that right there laid the groundwork to YouTube, to Twitch, to all these channels for young and aspiring influencers and information getters, and of course journalists, young video game journalists now. And most of them actually started off here and worked into deeper into the video game industry as we speak. So you can't beat that. But I will have to say that let's just put it this way. video games actually took a down. Video game shows did take a downfall, and especially one that really turned the tide when it came to video game journalism. And we're going to talk about that in our last commercial break. So let's move on to that and everything, and we're going to wrap this one up.
I called the witch doctor, he told me what to do. He said, ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, chang, chang, walla walla bing bang.
That means play Dr. Mario on Game Boy or NES.
Chang, chang, walla walla bing bang. I beat the witch doctor, and this is what he said. He said, ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah, chang, chang, walla walla bing bang, ooh-ee, ooh-ah-ah. And then he struck my head.
DJ Professor K here, the last free voice in the city, baby. Here's a long-distance dedication from the kids on the street. Dear Security Goon Squad, we want to thank you for being you. Slow, weak, clueless. We are free, man. Keeping the soul of the city alive. You can't stop us.
Yeah!
Hugs and kisses, baby.
Jet Set Radio Future. Tune into the new revolution.
Rated T for teens. New and only on Xbox.
All right, so this right here is the final run. We're actually starting to wrap this up, ladies and gentlemen. This right here is going to be the final segment of this three-parter of this wonderful subject. I hope you guys were very informed, because this one right here is reason why that you don't see any of these gaming shows come back. And let's talk about X-Play one more time. X-Play, they actually aired from, as you mentioned before, 1998 to 2013. Towards the end, I believe the main producer, I will not mention his name here. He he was actually going to be putting the game channel in a different direction. He felt that the show was not reaching far enough, and the demographic was not large enough, and they wanted to go put it into a different direction. So of course they were going to team up with a company called it was Spike TV first, I believe, that actually bought it, and then after Spike TV, they moved on to a company called Esquire.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like right after G4 like hit their demise, and and then they decided to call the Esquire Network. You want to know what's funny? The Esquire Network didn't even last too long either.
This is what I'm getting at. Now, if you wonder why shows like Cops, shows like Cheaters, shows like the American Ninja Warrior was starting to air on G4, was just for that reason. They felt like they were losing viewership. They felt like it wasn't reaching far enough to a demographic. They were trying to get more eyes onto the channel. If you remember, what's it called, Midnight Spank? That actually aired.
I remember that.
Right?
I remember that. It was
more
like
raunchy viewerships and stuff like that. It was actually for late nights, and the like. It was just for that reason. And believe it or not, Adam Sessler was very vocal about the direction, and believe it or not, he had some words with the director, and the direction they were going, and didn't like it, didn't like the creative decisions, and they parted ways. And this was actually during one of the last episodes before it was actually going to come to an end. One of the episodes before the very last episode, Adam Sessler actually left the set. He was supposed to come back out, and he didn't. He just left. He left the campus. He left everything. He just said, screw you. I don't want to be here no more, and left. Blair Herter literally was shocked, and so were some of the other staff, and they literally had to ad-lib the rest of the episode because they didn't know what to do. Adam had certain things he was supposed to say, blah, 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 and couldn't. So they had confused faces, and it was crazy. I mean, literally. And they had to take David Pereira literally had to jump onto the set to kind of fill in the spot to help them move along for that episode. And then, of course, the final episode where they said their goodbyes and all that stuff, and tears all around for the final episode. Fast forward into the year 2021.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
The resurrection. Yeah, the resurrection should have never happened.
Yeah, I was, and they chose. They did a G4 Thanksgiving special. Morgan Webb did come back. Adam Sessler, Dave Pereira,
Did Chrissy Adams came back?
Yes, and then
I know. Yeah, I know. Kansas Bailey did. I don't think Kansas Bailey show up, and neither did Sarah Underwood. I don't think those two didn't show up either.
No, they didn't show up. No, and believe it or not, a special guest did show up though. The famous wrestler Austin Creed. He actually showed up towards the
Xavier
end.
Woods.
Yes, Xavier Woods. Now, I feel like, I as soon as I saw that, I was taken aback because I didn't know exactly what they were going to do, or if they were actually going to keep the original formula and just kind of punch it up a little bit. That didn't happen. They decided to. Who did they do? Oh, this is boy. All right, let's dissect this a little bit one by one. The G4 relaunched with plagued by internal issues, inconsistent tone, lack of clear identity. Adam Sessler did return, but the chemistry and cultural relevance didn't translate. And another reason why it didn't do well, because of one influencer that decided to be a little bit too outspoken. And she decided to say.
Was her name Froskin?
Yes, Frost. Yes. She was a competitive gamer who was very outspoken, especially then. And I was actually shocked they actually decided to bring her in as a host, because it didn't really match with you had the completionist there, and there's a lot of controversy behind him as well. And who else was it? Oh goodness gracious, what's his name?
Was it the Black Hokage?
Yeah, the Black Hokage. Yes, he was there.
He also there was a controversy about him as well. He got exposed as well.
So yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was going on in the background, and I feel like that show was doomed to start because once I figured out what the questionnaires actually were, I said, "Oh no." A few of the questions I'm not going to mention on the air, or will make your skin crawl. And I said, "Oh, thank goodness I didn't try to apply, because if I try to apply and I actually, my gosh, it's just not for the faint of heart." Now, here's a few things. The G4's entire relaunch was ambiguous and misaligned with modern viewing habits, and of course, shows like the Attack on the Show and X-Play did return, but the format felt dated. So they didn't really, and they made it more of a couch session, comparable to G4TV.com, where they had the chat forums actually going live, so they can actually see in real time what the people were actually saying, which is the reason why that Frost actually said what she did say.
Right.
And number one, she shouldn't have mentioned anything like that at all. And when she told everybody, you don't have to watch this if you don't, like our content.
Yeah, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Peace.
Don't watch it. Peace.
Yeah.
That was the nail in the coffin. That killed the channel. That right there killed the channel. And and then after that, I think Frost actually got eliminated. Pretty much, kicked out the show.
You want to know what's crazy? You know what's crazy about that? When gamers speak out against that, and what blows my mind is like the person that was in charge of G4 was like the head of it. He actually agreed and applauded to what Frost had said, though. Like he thought that whatever she said was the right thing that she did, and it was very accurate. It just shows you how completely out of touch these people are, and they just didn't realize they just signed their demise right there. Completely out of touch people.
Adam Sessler was not responsible there. He was not responsible. He was, it's like he still was in that weird bubble, like, basically the bubble that, bursted, so to speak, on air, and left. When he left, and so abruptly, he still had that in the back of his mind. It's like he wanted to destroy G4 from within. I think he still had that grudge, that chip on his shoulder, and it shows, especially when he was on there, because you didn't really see him on set. He was mostly inside of his little, like, four-walled whatever, and he's like it was like a work from home, like dialed in, and it just didn't feel like X-Play. It didn't feel like what I grew up watching, and that really kind of it shot me down. It really did. It shot me down. Now another show that I'd honorable mention that actually tried to change the game. It was called Vibe. It was short-lived. It showed up on YouTube. And it had the same concept, except it felt more like the G4 that merged into Esquire. Because they had the game sessions, true, but it was short. Then they had a session where you dealt with, it was more like a web-based type of show where she sat around with one of the guests and they were eating foreign candies and stuff like that, and they were chatting with the guests. It was boring. It was lame. It didn't really punch well. And then they had another one dealing with workouts. He had a guy doing like exercises and stuff like that. Listen, I mean, yeah, great. I mean, I think you're trying to tell everybody who is watching the show, hey, I need to lose a few pounds. You guys got to lose a few pounds. And if you've been sitting around twiddling your thumbs, playing video games, why don't you get up and start exercising? Okay, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a good idea, right? But, there's a little more subtle way of doing it. Instead of doing it like that,
the way they put the message out there was completely wrong. Like they did it wrong, and like I said before, whatever these people did was completely out of touch, and it didn't reach the gamers. That's what it was.
Yeah, and Vibe didn't last too long. It only lasted for not even a full season. It was like what, 4, maybe 5 episodes in. And then the network completely dropped them. Said, nope, this is not working. and I think that one of the shows was talking about personal feelings or something like that. She sat around and they had everybody, go on there talking about their secrets and all that stuff. Who wants to watch that, dude? I didn't want to go. I didn't want to watch Oprah on my gaming channel. Let's can we skip that, please? I mean, I felt really kind of taken aback. I thought the vibe was going to be the thing, and it was not the thing. It sucked.
You want to know what's crazy? What's crazy? When I saw the resurrection of G4, I was thinking that, oh, okay, they possibly gonna bring back all these great shows that G4 had back in the day. Like I was hoping like they were gonna bring back Icons and maybe do an updated version, like before, like they talk about SNK. So now I was hoping like they would do a new version, like an updated version of Icons, their presentation of SNK. Like they'll talk about the SNK from what it is until now, until like the late like 2020s, and the same thing they would update like for the Metal Gear segments. Like I was hoping they would be smart enough to do something like that, but unfortunately they didn't.
Dude,
There was so much potential they could have done.
They had a huge column. They even asked. They asked all the players out there, "Oh, what would you like to see come back?" And people were actually going heavy on the Pulse, heavy on Cheats, heavy on all. They wanted those shows back. And what do? They choose the two biggest shows that were pretty big at the time, but if they were trying to take it in a whole new direction, and which was the wrong thing to do. They should have made it more of the same segment where they're standing up and they have stuff going on in the background and they actually talk about informative stuff. Video games, what's coming out, a sneak preview, and all the little things like that. Dude, and and they had the 4 out of 5 kind of stuff. That was awesome. The way they did it before, it was informative, it was quick, it was good. And what did they do? They decided to make it a circle jerk in the thing in the middle of a freaking tank with they named what did they name the gecko again? I forgot what it was. It was some weird name. I forgot what it was. And they were actually riding on Xbox heavy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Xbox. I am not an Xbox, ladies and gentlemen, I am. But they were riding heavy on it, especially Frost. I don't understand what it is. I mean, was she trying to get some brownie points, because for pointing it out? Dude, come on, man. I don't understand why. You don't have the console war on that. You're not even supposed to do that. You're not supposed to console war on a channel like that actually deals with all different consoles. Leave that to your own channels, not to that. That's the wrong platform. Use your own platform if you're going to be opinionated like that. This one here is supposed to, they completely jumped the shark. They completely jumped the shark with G4. I was so excited. I was excited when they announced that G4 was coming back. You don't know, Johnny. I was shouting to the mountaintops. I was like, yes, they're bringing back G4. Yes, gaming journalism and everything, which is fun. It's coming back. Yes.
I'll be very strictly honest with you. When they mentioned about their bringing back G4, I was a little skeptical because I wanted to see. I had to see it before I got all hyped up and everything because lately because I've just been burned out with a lot of stuff when they said, oh, this is coming back, and it doesn't like actually bring up the original concept, what it once was. So I was hoping these people would prove me wrong, but unfortunately they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, because do you have any thoughts, Tony?
It's the worst when you're optimistic and then it just drops. It's the worst feeling, right?
Yeah. So
you get super excited and you just yeah. Oh, come on.
Yeah. I mean, so what did you? So I mean, you probably watched the new G4. What did you think when they first announced it, and then when you found out what it was? You were like, why?
To be honest, Johnny got to me before I even got a chance to check it out. He told me, "Dude, it's bad." So I didn't even go
remember
look.
I did tell you about it
He
because I
warned me.
remember.
He gave me fair warning.
Oh yeah.
I do. The minute I saw him that, because I'll tell you what it was that made me said, okay, I'm not watching this. It was the Froskin meltdown. When I first saw that, I was like, okay, so now they're gonna start attacking their audience. You know what? I ain't wasting my time with this.
Yeah.
And then I showed it to Tony, and Tony said the same thing. And then I said to myself, this is probably gonna be probably give it another year, and then they're gonna shut it down. And then it was less than that. They actually shut it down on the same year, which I believe it was in October when they shut its doors. And I wasn't surprised. Once you start attacking your audience, you just signed your death. You just signed your death wish right there.
Yeah.
You just put the nail in the final, and put the final nail in the coffin.
So in closing, we're gonna explain why it didn't take off today. Well, number one, the linear style programming and cable era pacing did not resonate with a generation raised on algorithm-driven content. It needed to be more agile, interactive, and creator-driven, which they completely missed the boat on. And I am so upset, so ashamed that they actually went that way. Even GamePro TV decided to get rebooted, and that was a problem too. What went wrong? Number one, it was actually a glorified infomercial with minimal personality. That's right. Even the host wasn't there. It lacked the energy and the charm. It was canceled quickly due to poor reception. So it only lasted for 1 year. 1 year. It rebooted and then it got shot. See, in closing, I had to put my words in here, and I'm going to choose my words very carefully because, of course, there's a lot of people who are sensitive. But I really think I need to swallow the hard truth.
Go for it.
Video games are just that. Video games. Entertainment. Fun. Exciting. Something that you can call yours but you want to share. When these shows, when it aired, were a special part of a lot of gamers' lives or players' lives. The reason why that in today's standards, they were trying to fit everything that was social media into this tiny little ecosystem, so to speak, and it didn't resonate. It didn't resonate with the new, fast-paced TikTok generation. It didn't work, and that is the reason why the shows, when they rebooted them, they failed. Nowadays, you can get all your information from Twitch streamers, some of the bigger ones. We're doing one right now that is doing fairly well. I think that we need to understand how to resonate with the gamers or the players out there for our own consumption. Dudes, these are freaking video games, man. These are not like public political issues. These are games, fun, discovery, sharing, camaraderie, friendship, building. This is something that is really important. And if you actually want to become a fantastic show, if you want to create a fantastic show, keep this one thing in mind. Interaction, entertainment, fun, and of course, share, passing it along, okay, or kicking the can forward. It's really important. So, in closing, we are pretty much done with the show. So, leave your thoughts and comments in the column to the right. Let me know what kind of show really influenced you. Let me know what show that you really loved. And also talk about some of the games that you actually discovered on some of these said shows. Maybe there's something that you actually didn't even know existed, and this show actually gave it to you and became your fan favorite for life. Who knows? But in closing, I am Torrance Hudson, also known as HUD Zero, and of course, why don't you guys give your closing thoughts and your outros, and then we can get out of here.
I'm the Neon Samurai, Tony San Miguel. Torrance, you forgot one last thing to add for a successful show.
What's that?
Look at us, man. Sex appeal. Massive sex
appeal.
appeal.
Oh my
I'm
God.
just saying.
Listen. Okay, listen.
Right.
We are hot. Okay? We are hot. We are so hot we are untouchable. Okay, let's put it to the ladies, keep your hands off. You can't have me. Okay?
Well, Johnny's free.
Wait, listen.
For now, yes.
It's okay. Eye candy is good. Eye candy is good. You know, it's important.
Of course.
But you can't have me. I'm sorry. Take it. Ha! But anyway, and what about you? Let's go ahead and give your outro.
All right. I just want to say to all you players out there who tuned in, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And we'll definitely see you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff.
That's right. Like, subscribe, go to our Patreon. There's a QR code right there on the right hand side. Go ahead, use your camera. You can actually go on there. It's only $5. You can donate, and you will be able to put into our wonderful Sounds of Treble page. It's going to be scrolling right along the bottom. And of course, you'll be able to, once we actually get up to 100 subscribers, we are still teetering right there between 89 and 90. I've been seeing it going up and down, fluctuating. If you like our content, tell your friends, share it. We are here every Friday and Sunday, 9 p.m. We try to get on time, but we are there, 9 p.m. And it's a 2-hour session. We have wonderful topics. We talk about everything in the industry. And we have more in the chamber. So go ahead and subscribe, and we will actually see you next time on the next Gaming Treble. Have a good night, everyone.
Hello. Play on, players. Smash that like button.